If you want to have great deliverability and optimized campaigns on Smartlead, then you are in the right place. Myself and my business partner Felipe are both Smartlead partners, and we're going to be breaking down how we use Smartlead for our cold email campaigns. We're going to cover the A to Z of how to launch and manage campaigns, best practices for email warmup, and also some pros and cons of a tool compared to other tools and why we choose to use Smartlead. So get ready, and this is going to be a great video.
Thanks for the introduction. As always, Michael, do appreciate it. In today's video, we're going to talk about a tool that we use quite extensively in our company. This is Smartlead.ai. We use this for warm-up settings and warming up our new email accounts. We also use it for campaign sending and campaign management. And lastly, we use it for appointment settings, so replying to everyone that is replying to us in our cold email campaigns, and also following up with them, keeping track of them, and so forth. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the A to Z of Smartlead. I'm going to show you the features, what are the things that can benefit you and your organization. Then I'm going to show you how we launch campaigns in Smartlead, what are the things to pay attention to. I'm going to show you a little bit about appointment setting, how we manage things in there. And at the end, I'll show you a little bit about our API functionalities. How do we use their backend and their API system to automate a few of the tasks that we perform on a daily basis and save us time. Now, if you're not at the level, if you don't want to go that advanced, you can just skip that part of the video. I'll just show you if you're curious, okay? So without further ado, let's jump straight into this. First, I'll show you what Smartlead is all about. Then we're going to get into the campaign, okay? So just breaking down the platform a little bit. Here on the left, we're going to have all of the tabs of the things that we can be leveraging. So email campaigns at the top. Here's where we're going to manage all of the campaigns and the analytics. We like to use the analytics from this page, not the global analytics, which I'll show you in a second. Then we have the master inbox, which is where we're tracking all of the replies that come through from our campaigns. And we do our appointment setting, meaning following up with the leads that haven't responded yet. Then we're going to have the email accounts where we do our warm up and the sending management. So here's where we control the volume of our sending per email account. Then we have the all leads, which is a tab, I'll be very honest, we don't really use that much, but here is where all of the leads we have in this specific account, where they are all saved, okay? Integrations, if you're looking to connect it with your CRM, with Clay, in case you have some automations going on in there, or ListKit, if you want to bring in the lead list that you're producing inside ListKit. Which, by the way, if you're curious about ListKit and you want a video on that, you can comment down below. We'll be happy to record a video on how we use ListKit as well for some of our lead lists, okay? Client access, in case you're delegating this to your team and you want them to be managing client by client, and you want the clients to have access to this interface. So I'm not going to show too much of that in this video, but if you are curious about how we use Smartlead to pretty much create dashboards that our clients can see as well, you can comment down below. I would also be happy to record a video on that. And lastly, we have the global analytics, which is where you can see the results from all of the campaigns. Being very honest, not a tab that we use too much because we tend to track this from a campaign level. So this is the overview. Now, there are other features that could be helpful to you, such as the global block list, which you can find in the settings right here. So if you go to settings, you'll be able to go to the global block list and add all of the leads that you never want contacted. This could be the list of clients that you have. This could be emails that have bounced and so forth, but you can keep track of them in here, okay? Now, without further ado, let's actually talk about how we use Smartlead to launch our cold email campaigns. In order for you to launch your cold email campaigns, you need a few things in place already. Number one, you need email accounts that were created the proper way, that are fully diversified, and that are able to send the volume that you're looking to send. Which, if you're curious about how we do that, I know it's coming. Once again, comment down below. We'll be happy to record a video showing you how we create our email accounts that are fully disconnected, that have their own personas, and how we send at scale with those email accounts. Now, that is the thing number one that you need if you're looking to send campaigns from Smartlead. The thing number two is going to be a lead list. So a list of prospects that you wish to contact and their email addresses that shall be valid. If you're curious about what that means, there is a video already in the channel that you can check out on how to validate your email list to improve your cold email deliverability. Deliverability being your ability to land in a primary inbox and not in spam. That is ground zero of cold email. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter how good everything else is. You need to be able to land in the primary inbox. So you can check out that video if you're curious. It's also going to be linked down below in the description. Now, that is thing number two, a lead list. Number three is going to be the copy. So that would be your cold email script, the messaging that you'll be sending to these prospects, either personalized or in bulk. Both are fine. And that is going to be pretty much it. And then from there is just your knowledge on how to organize everything, how to launch everything, and so forth. So I'm going to show you how we launch a campaign beginning to end. I'll show you the things that we keep an eye on. and you'll be able to see exactly our process. So starting off, we're gonna go to Smartlead, we're gonna click on create campaign. I do like to have a good naming convention, so I tend to go the following way. I have the client name, so let's say the FI meetings in this case. Then I have the list that I'm launching, so in this case I'll put sample e-commerce. I tend to put where I got this list from, so let's say from store leads, right? Which, by the way, if you're curious about how to get e-commerce leads from store leads, there's a video in the channel already. You can search it up. It's quite helpful. Then I tend to put what is the script angle. In this case, this script angle is not related to the list. It's just an example, but I'll still put the script angle, which is lead generation system. And then I tend to put the name of the sending account, which in this case is going to be Michael Gardiner. And that is the naming convention. Why do I have this huge name? Just so when I'm not inside the campaign, I can see everything that is happening inside. Now, if I were to add one more thing that I oftentimes add to the names, it would be what I'm split testing. So for example, split testing subject lines, like that. And that would be the naming convention that I have on the campaigns. I know it is quite big. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but that is what I like to do in our company. Then let's start the launching process. It's going to be divided in 5 steps. Who, what, when, how, and warm up. Okay? So the first 4 steps are done inside the campaign level, and the last one is done on the email account level. You're going to see in firsthand how we do that. So starting off with the list. So when I have a lead list, let's say this one that I got in a spreadsheet, you could have gotten this from Clay. If you're curious about Clay, there's also a video in the channel that talks about it. You could have gotten this from a list that you purchase. You could have this pretty much anywhere. But in this case, I have it in Google Sheets, and I have it formatted the following way. Do bear in mind, part of this list is red and part of it has a white background. Why is that? The red ones, this is how we tend to track it internally, are leads that I have already launched into a campaign. So I don't need to relaunch them. They have already been added to Smartlead. Although Smartlead has a duplicate checker, I do like to cross-check things from an outside perspective as well. Also to make sure that I can just copy the emails from here, put them in my scraping tool such as Apollo, again, video in the description, and I can exclude them so I'm not scraping them again and wasting credits. So in this case, the way I would start checking my lead list would be by adding a filter. So I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to filter by the background, right? And I only want white background, which is just to make sure that I don't have leads that I have already uploaded. Then I'm just going to cross-check the information that I'm going to mention in my cold email script, which in this case is going to be the first name and the company name. So first names, I'm just checking to make sure they're not fully capitalized, just making sure they're fully formatted the proper way. For company names, the same thing. I want to make sure I don't have any suffixes or any extra characters in there that are not helpful to the campaign. So for example, if this company, Silky Socks, had INC at the end, and I mentioned this in the cold email script, hey Danish, I came across Silky Socks INC, he'd probably just be like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. This is an automated email, and he's more likely to report me as a spammer, which triggers a negative feedback loop, which can get my account suspended, which can then pretty much make my campaigns not work. So I don't want to be doing that. I want to be cleaning all of the company names. And if I don't have the time and I don't have the means and I don't have the AI system in place to do this cleaning for me, then I might as well just not use company name whatsoever. Because in that case, it would only hurt. It wouldn't really help the campaign. Okay? So that is the one thing. If you're curious about how to clean company names with AI, also something you can let us know. We can record a video on that. But for the sake of this video, let's say you cleaned it manually and you're good to go from here. Okay, so you clean the company names. Then you're gonna just check the emails for validation. There's a video we released in the channel where we talk about million verifier and tracking your bounce rates. You can watch that if you're curious about how we do this process, but pretty much we would download this list as a CSV file. We would run it through a tool called million verifier just to validate against bounces. Once it's valid from here, we can then bring it to Smartlead. Now do bear in mind, Smartlead also has a bounce checker. We just like to have 2 tools checking this at once because we really don't want a high bounce rate. Now, let's say you've done that. You uploaded your list on Million Verifier, downloaded the good emails. Now what we're going to do is we're going to upload it as a CSV file, the file you downloaded from Million Verifier, into Smartlead. So we're going to click on Upload CSV file. We're going to select that file. And in here, I like to select the following features. First, I want to not import leads even if they are in a global block list, meaning I want to remove everyone in my global block list, my DNC list. I want to remove everyone that's unsubscribed, so I'm not going to toggle this on. I do want to import them if they bounced across Smartlead's database. It's just because if someone have bounced for someone else, they might not be bouncing right now because I already checked for bounces. So therefore, I keep this option on. And then I do want to ignore the leads that exist in another campaign. So I'm going to toggle this on as well, and I'm going to save. From here, I'm just going to do the mapping of the columns in the spreadsheet to the columns in Smartlead. So in my spreadsheet, I had first name, last name, company name, email. In this case, I'm gonna just match that. First name, last name, company name, email, website. If I'm bringing in position title, notice that it's not a native feature of Smartlead, so I'm gonna bring it in as a custom field. That way I can add the position title in my Codimo script later on, okay? And that's gonna be about it. So then we can click on save and next. I don't wanna bring these two fields, personalized line and country. So I'm just gonna click on save and next. I'm gonna click OK. And then it's gonna prompt me if I wanna validate it with Smartlead. So if you do wanna do that, you just click here on purchase credits and you click on validate. I do recommend doing that. For the sake of this video and just to move fast, I'm gonna click on skip and proceed. But this is doing pretty much what Million Verifier is doing. It's checking if the emails that you have added to your list will not bounce. If you're curious about what bounces are and how to protect yourself from them, please watch the video that we have recorded on that already in this channel. It's gonna be linked down below, okay? In this case, I'm gonna click on skip and proceed. And then I'm gonna get into the I'm gonna get into the what. So we covered so far who to target, now we're gonna talk about what to mention in the script. So I have a script that has been written already inside Google Docs. I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna bring it to Smartlead. So I'm gonna just paste. Whenever you're pasting something that comes from another document, use Command-Shift-V or Control-Shift-V if you're on Windows, just so you paste without formatting, so it doesn't have any extra HTML, okay? Now let's format this properly for Smartlead. So time of day, what is this? This is a prompt that I wanna have to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How do I do that on Smartlead? I type in good SL time of day. And what this is going to do is it's going to check what time of the day it is, and it's going to mention that in your script when you're sending at the end. So in this case, I'm recording my evening. It would be saying good evening, first name. How do I change the first name so it's brought from the list? I just put in double quotation marks or double braces and first name, just like that. Okay. So now it will say good morning, or in this case, good afternoon, Felipe. Then let's say, mind me asking how you're getting your lead list into your Codimo campaigns within sending to. Sending to would be a merge field I would have needed to have brought from the lead list. In this case, I haven't. So I would just add as if this was the position title. Because you remember that I mapped the position title as a custom variable. Assume this is bringing in actually the tool name. So I'll change here, let's say tool name, as if that was a merge field that I have brought in. And then we have Michael. I could also be sending percentage sender name to just use the name of the email account that I'm using for this launch. As easy as that. Okay, now the script is in. Then I'm gonna do the subject lines. So let's say I copy these four right here. The way I like to do them is I like to spin syntax all of them. I'll explain what spin syntax is in a minute. Let's just first format this properly. So we have company name right here, right? Formed it properly. Then we have first name down here, and we have for first name down here as well. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I wanna switch between these four subject lines for the script. How I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna do braces, and I'm gonna do a vertical pipe character between each of these, okay? So it's gonna look like this. Let me show you. Like that, space again, and I close with braces. Now what it's gonna do is every email I send, it's gonna choose one of the four subject lines and only send that. Why do we do that? Because uniqueness tends to be related to the amount of reply rates that you get over time. Meaning the more unique your emails are, the more you're mimicking a real human behavior, which is personalizing the emails you're sending, and that will improve your reputation with, let's say, Google and Microsoft, which then in turn gives you better deliverability and helps you land in the primary inbox. So we always want to be having some sort of spin syntax. So let's say if I wanted to spin syntax good time of day as well, I could be adding the vertical pipe in here as well, and I could say hey. So sometimes I say good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Sometimes I just say hey, or I say hi, right? So it's going to choose one of the three or one of the six in this case, because the SL time of day can generate 4 variations as well. So this is one example of how you can add spin syntax in your Codimo scripts. We do add a lot of it. We tend to add one piece of spin syntax per paragraph as the absolute bare minimum. You can also use AI to create those for you. If you're curious about that, comment down below and I'm happy to tell you more about how we spin text scripts at scale with AI. But this is the basis of how you add it in here. If I'm gonna add a split task, meaning an email to send at the same time as the first one to check which one works better, I just click on add variant, I plug in the subject lines and I plug in the script, copy and pasting from the document like I did before. If I have an email that I wanna send as a follow-up, I'm just gonna click on add step, select email. I don't add a subject line, so it is replying to my first email, so it creates a thread in someone's inbox. And then I just add whatever follow-up I want to be adding. Now, Smartlead does have some smart features, such as composing with AI, Being very honest, we tend not to use this too much in our company. We tend to write all of our scripts manually. But if you're starting out and you want some inspiration, you could click on Compose with AI and have it generate a follow-up for you. As well as it could generate, of course, an email one and so forth. You could also benefit from going to the email templates that Smartlead provides you and just get some ideas of how they write their own scripts, okay? That is pretty much how you add the scripts here. Make sure every time you add a script, you click on Clean HTML to remove any extra code from behind the script, and you should be good to go. Then you can click on Save Changes. By the way, I have HHD, and if ever I'm launching campaigns, I'm the one lunatic that's always clicking on Save here, Save Changes, so I never lose my progress. Happened a few times that I added, like, say, 6 scripts, forgot to click on Save Changes, and lost all of the progress and had to restart. So I just keep on clicking this button, Save Changes, a lot of times. I added something in here, added some syntax, Save Changes. Add another variant, Save Changes. That way, I never lose my progress. So if you want to end up doing the same, I do recommend it, okay? Then we click on Save and Next, and we're going to get into the third phase, which is, we had who, what, and now we're going to have when. So when is the schedule of the campaign? Small trick here, make sure you're always adding the time zone of your prospects. In this case, I'm reaching out to the US, so I'm going to put ETC5 as the time zone, just so I'm sending in EST time, okay? Then for reason of Can Spam Act or compliance with overall laws regarding to email, I do want to be sending Monday to Friday on working hours. So I'm going to do from 9 to 5, okay? So I'm going to do it like this. The minimum waiting time, put something that's more than 10 minutes just so you're mimicking, once again, human-like behavior. A real human wouldn't be sending a complete new email every minute and just be sending them quickly. So you want to make sure you're adding something more than 10 minutes in here. I tend to play around with 15 to 20 more, okay? That tends to be the range that I play with. And you're going to understand more of that when we talk about the email account level. Then I'm going to set the start campaign date, which is going to be, let's say, today, and the max number of leads, which I always put a huge number, so it never throttles the sending that I can have. So I control my sending amount from the email account and not from the campaign. In the campaign, I want to send as much as possible. In the email account, I want to send a limited amount of emails so I don't burn my sending. You're going to understand more of that in a minute. So then I have set my schedule. Now I'm going to get to the last stage of a campaign, which is the how. So this is going to be the tracking settings and the email accounts. Let's start with the tracking settings. I'm going to go on campaign settings and configure them. Now, I'm not going to explain in too much depth how these things here work. This could be a video on its own talking about deliverability, but we tend not to track email opens, link clicks, and send as plain text, right? Now, is this going to be a game changer? Not necessarily. It could be, depending on how you're launching your campaigns, but it could not be if your campaign is not good either way, okay? So there is so much more to cold email than just not tracking email opens and clicks, although everyone is very sensational on Twitter and LinkedIn talking about this holy grail techniques for best email deliverability. It doesn't really work that way. It's not like you not tracking open rates will be the holy grail of your deliverability. Not at all. In fact, there are other things that are way more important than that. And I can guarantee you, we have campaigns running with open tracking on, and they will absolutely destroy anyone else's campaigns, okay? So we're getting like 30 to 50% reply rates on campaigns tracking email opens, despite what everyone says that this would destroy your deliverability. It's not really the case. There are other factors that are more important than that, but that would be a topic for another video on cold email deliverability. Overall, though, we don't track open rates and we send as plain text, okay? So we apply the settings like that. We tend to auto-analyze leads mailbox like to the email service provider. So for example, if we have Gmail accounts, we send to Gmail. If we have Outlook accounts, we send to Outlook. This is another one of those things that if you go on Twitter and you go on LinkedIn, everyone will be saying this is a holy grail of email deliverability. It's not. We tested this at a monumental scale. It doesn't really matter that much. What matters most is the IP of the sending account. So whether your IP is from the US and you're reaching out to someone in Hong Kong, or if your IP is from India and you're reaching out to someone in the US. That type of matching tends to be more important. And what we've seen is a lot of the people that talk about this feature, they are not tracking those things. They're not tracking the IP location, which is what matters most. And then they are attributing the better result from the matching to the matching itself and not to the other factors that were behind this matching, okay? Hope that kind of makes some sense. It's not something you have to obsess about. If you want the placebo effect nonetheless, which we do like, you just keep this option toggled on, okay? I'm not going to be explaining every single one of the features here. I'm just giving you more of the settings that we tend to use internally, okay? Then we tend to categorize replies using Smartlead.ai. So we tend to track the out-of-office replies, and we tend to automatically restart these leads when the lead returns. So you're having Smartlead work for you. They'll be checking when someone is out of office, check the date they'll be back, and based on that, they'll be continuing the sequence. So send email 2, 3, and so forth from that, okay? We also tend to have an auto pause protection for bounces, and we tend to put this at 4% bounce rate. Our campaigns, being completely honest, tend to range between like 0.1 to 0.2% bounce rates, and that is because we tend to use Million Verifier and Smartlead for the checking, which more on that in the video link down below, okay? And these are pretty much the settings that we tend to use. We don't add unsubscribe links, but that's because we are willing to take on the risk of not having an unsubscribe link. If you're reaching out to countries such as Germany, Poland, and so forth, you are obligated to have this on. So please check with your local laws. This is not legal advice. It's just what we tend to use in our own company. We tend not to have the unsubscribe links on, and we tend to have an unsubscribe message in all of our emails. So for instance, we would have a PS here. If you wish to no longer receive emails from me, let me know and I won't contact you again. So this is the type of opt-out that we tend to add, not necessarily in the PS, but just as an example in case you want to be somewhat legal in this process, okay? That's what we tend to do. From here, so now we have done the how, we just need to select the email accounts we'll be adding in here. So I'll just be selecting Michael, for example. Here is one of the features I like the most about Smartlead. I can click on filter and I can choose a tag name. So I like to use the tags that I want to use in this campaign. So I can separate the batches of emails on a campaign level. So for example, I only want to launch tag 1 that is fully warmed up. I select that in the filter, select all of the accounts, apply the selection, save the email accounts. Boom, got everything ready, okay? So now we covered who, what, when, and how. Finally, we're gonna do a quick review to make sure that our messaging looks okay when we're sending, right? Percentage sender name is always gonna appear this way, but that's normal. And I'll just check a few leads, make sure everything looks good, it's good to be launched, and I'll click on schedule campaign, and I'm good to go. Now we're gonna do the last step of an email launch, which is the email account level. In the email account level, all I'm going to do is change the sending settings. So for example, I'm gonna open all of the accounts that I launched in this campaign. So again, I'm gonna search for Michael. I'm gonna choose the tag name, tag 1, which is what I have launched. And then I'm gonna select all of the accounts. I'm gonna go to book update, and I'm gonna do a seesaw method here, which that is something that again, I could cover in another video. I'm just showing you how we would launch this ourselves. So I'm gonna divide the sending between campaign and warmup. We always have the warmup on. You never wanna turn that off because the warmup is the single feature that allows you to maintain your reputation longer term. Despite what people say that warmup can destroy your accounts, it is more about how you leverage warmup to then prolong the lifetime of your accounts. It's not that warmup is bad, it's just gotta do it right, okay? So I would be changing the settings in here. This is, for example, what I'll be using. I'll be sending 25 emails in my warmup with, let's say, 80% reply rates. I'll be changing the tag, so something like this. I'm not gonna explain this in too much depth. I'm just showing you how we tend to operate this. You can also ask Smartlead to auto-adjust for you. Because we've been doing this for such a long time, we tend not to use this feature much at all. But if you're starting out and you want to have your warm-up handled for you, you can just click on here. If you don't know what warm-ups are, just a very quick explanation. It is a feature where Smartlead contacts other accounts that are inside Smartlead, and it engages with every single one of the accounts to create a reputation with Google, Microsoft, and other email service providers. This is how you show Google and Microsoft that you're a legit sender. So this warm-up process is to be done forever. You never want to turn it off. The moment you turn it off, you're pretty much relying on the reputation of your campaign, which, what is your best campaign going to perform like if you don't have personalization? 10, 20% reply rates? That is still not sufficient. That still doesn't show Google and Microsoft that you're a reputable sender. So therefore, you want to have a warm-up system in place so you can fake the amount of engagement that you get and make your accounts look more legit. Now, you got to do this the right way. If anyone tells you that warm-ups don't work, it's because they're doing it wrong. And I can show you this with a lot of data. If you're curious about it, comment down below, and I'll be happy to record a video just on that, okay? But anyways, here I have changed the settings on the warm-up. So let's say before I was sending 50 emails per day in the warm-up. Now I'm going to be sending 25 because I want the other 25 emails to be coming from the campaign. Remember the minimum time gap we had before of 20 minutes? We have to match it in here. I tend to like to put 1 minute less. So I tend to put a minimum time gap in the account of 19. And here in the messages per day is where I'm controlling the total amount of emails that will go out per day per email account. So that's why I said before in the campaign, you want to put the max amount of leads to a huge number so it never throttles the sending, but it will throttle the sending from the email account, which in this case is 25 emails per day per email account. The whole idea is send low volume per email account and send consistently and get more email accounts to send more volume. Again, a topic that we can cover extensively in another video if you're curious about it. In this case, I'm just showcasing how this is done inside Smartlead. Now, once this is all done, I'll click on save and my campaign will start sending, okay? Now, this is how we launch campaigns. Let me tell you a little bit more about how we handle our email accounts, okay? Since you already saw me changing warm-up settings and what those are and what not. So if I'm creating my email accounts, say on G Suite, I have fully diversified my IPs, I have fully diversified my phone numbers, I have diversified my personas, so that Google and Microsoft cannot see that everything ties back to me. Because by the way, if you have all of your email accounts pointing back to you, Google and Microsoft know it's you behind all of them, and it is against policies that you're doing snowshoeing, which is creating multiple personas to send low volume. Because the way they define spam is bulk plus unsolicited sending. And the reason why you create so many email accounts, the reason why you see that advice everywhere, is because then you're faking low sending volume. So you're not sending in bulk. That's how you're breaking the definition of spam. But if all of the accounts still link back to you, you're still a bulk sender. They can still see the volume you're sending overall. So you should be diversified on that end. If you're curious about that, drop a comment down below and I'll show you more about it. But just know that you need to create multiple email accounts with burner domains. So in case they get blacklisted, you just discard the email account and you don't have to worry about it. You don't want this to be affecting your primary domain. Because if you lose your primary domain, now how are you going to communicate with your clients and your employees? You can't. So you should be having burner domains. They should be diversified. They should be sending lower volume. And they should be warming up, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So let's say I open this email account right here. So what I've done is I clicked on add account. I've added this email account, let's say through OAuth on Google or Microsoft. And from there, I will now just select the settings that I want to have in this account. So in the general settings, I'll just put how many emails I want to be sending per day, the minimum time gap. Please always make sure that you have a custom tracking domain on. It will improve your cold email deliverability. So toggle this on, follow the instructions here on how to set it up, and that will help you with deliverability. Then in the warm-up, I'm going to have all of the settings for my warm-up. Let's say I'm warming up for the first time. I'm going to warm up to 50 emails per day, for example. I'm going to ramp it up 5 emails per day increase, and I want to have a reply rate between 30 and 40%. So I'm going to put this to 35, for example. And I'm going to warm up the custom tracking domain. I'm going to send warm-up emails on the weekends because that, based on our research and our testing, is helpful. And if you want, you can enable the auto-adjust warm-up sending ratio. But we tend not to keep this on. Now I'm going to save, and now the account is going to start sending emails back and forth with other email accounts and building a reputation. Usually this is something that is done for 14 days before you launch your first cold email campaign. But once again, that is a topic for another video where we cover deliverability. In this case, I'm just showing you how to use Smartlead. Okay? So those are the settings inside the email campaign. This is how you have this going. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the master inbox and how we track our appointment setting. So very simply, if you open the master inbox and you've been sending campaigns, everyone that was in your lead list is going to appear in here once they reply as a lead, right? So like this person right here. In here, I have all of the emails that I have sent this person. I can easily open that. I can reply to it. And on the reply, I can use AI to generate the reply for me if I don't know what I'm doing. Or I can click on email templates and choose one of the templates that Smartlead has come up with to then follow up with them. One quick tip, always show competency on your replies. Everyone nowadays that's into sales and into cold email is just bumping people that don't reply back or just sending them a calendar link, hey, book here. I don't really recommend that. I recommend showing more competency, showing how you can help this company, giving them ideas, and then asking them if they'll be willing to hop on a call and perhaps adding your calendar link in your signature, okay? So that should be helpful. Now, other features that you have in the master inbox are going to be the deal amount. If you want to track how much money you have in your pipeline right now, you can add a task, for example, follow up with this person on X amount of days. You can add that in here. You can give it a priority. Works like a CRM. You can add notes if you have more people reaching out to the same lead. So you can say, hey, I saw on Instagram that this person just got married. Maybe something you can mention as the icebreaker on the sales call. So you can add notes. You can push this lead into another campaign or a sub-campaign if you wish to do so. Not something I'm going to cover much in depth today. If they have replied with an out of office and you want to just resume the lead, you can click on resume lead. You can mark as blocked so they get added to the block list and never contacted again, and so forth. I'll let you take a look at the other features after. And then one of the features that we use the most is the lead categorization. So we tend to categorize what kind of lead is this? Is this someone that's interested? Have they requested a meeting? And so forth. Because what we like doing is whenever we want to close a client in our company, we just go to the list of interested and never booked a call, and we follow up with every single person in there, okay? Now, if you have a team and you need to assign this to someone else, you can just use this feature right here of assign to and select another team member. And this is the basics of how we tend to use the master inbox. Now, giving credit to Smartlead, you also have a fantastic feature, which is the untracked replies. This is another inbox where it brings all of the replies that were not from your lead list. So inside the inbox, you have replies from the people that you have added to your lead list. On the untracked replies, you have everything else, right? So for instance, if someone has replied with a different email account, or someone has forwarded your email to someone else and they have replied, they will appear inside the untracked replies, which is a fantastic feature. We use it a lot, okay? And these are the basics of how to use Smartlead. Now, of course, there is the global analytics where you can see how are all of your campaigns tracking, what kind of results you're seeing, and so forth. Not something to cover much in depth. I do want to touch on one more thing before we let you start on your own campaigns in Smartlead, which is advanced features. We like to track everything that we have going on in Smartlead on a spreadsheet, and also use that to track all of our settings. This is getting really, really, really advanced, but pretty much what I'm doing is I'm having formulas inside Google Sheets go into Smartlead and press buttons for me. So pretty much if I want to see what are all of the campaigns I have live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this formula right here, and boom, it will get me all of the campaigns that are live right now. And what are the settings in them? Because when we want to show human-like behavior, ideally we'll be changing the settings often and just like pretty much mimicking what a real human would do, which is random behavior. So I can control all of that from inside spreadsheets without opening campaign by campaign inside Smartlead, which is something that is really, really helpful to me. So I track that in here. Also, if I move here to the right, I'm tracking every email account and the warmup settings. So I have full control over everything that I'm doing. Every setting that I showed you how to change in Smartlead, I also change from a spreadsheet. If you want to see the super advanced system and campaign management system, please drop a comment down below. I'll be happy to show you. But this is how you get to the next level of lead generation and keeping track of your campaigns. I also will tell you that part of this is automated with a tool like Make. In this case, I'm just going to show you the reporting system that we have in here to show you possibilities. But you can use automation tools to hit the backend and press buttons inside Smartlead. So for example, this button it's pressing right now is for the campaign analytics, right? So whenever I press this button, it goes into Smartlead, gets me the analytics, and returns it here so I can check the results of every campaign and every email account in it so that I can make my decisions. So I know this is advanced, I'm not gonna show you too much of it, but I want to sparkle in a little bit of the stuff. So if you're curious about how to get advanced, track things at scale, and automate your tasks, this is how. It can also be used to do appointment setting for you. So you can pretty much receive a reply from Smartlead, bring it into Make, have AI analyze the reply, create a reply back based on your company's guidelines, and send it back into Smartlead without you even touching it. So that is how you automate lead generation A to Z without ever having to touch the campaigns again, pretty much, okay? Now, this is it. This is the overview. If you're looking to sign up to Smartlead, the link is down below. You can just click that and you can sign up. If you have more questions, if you want to see anything in more depth, because this video is already very long, please let us know. We would love to make this a series, talk more about it. I know I said this many, many times along this video, but we're really happy to help. So yeah, drop a comment down below if you're curious to see that. And I'll pass the word back to Michael. Thanks so much for having me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Felipe. That video was great. Now, if you do want to sign up for Smartlead, there is a link in the description, and by using that link, you are able to support the channel. And if you do want to work together on your Smartlead campaigns, make sure to book a call with us to see how we can help. There's also a link in the description for that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.